Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back for your daily crypto news and analysis. And today we are going to be talking about Aleph Zero, aka AZERO. It's been a very long time since I've honestly talked about this massive gem. Honestly, as we do look at Aleph Zero today, sitting at about roughly $250 million worth of market cap, aka $250 million in market cap. I believe that this thing is set to have a major run up in the next bull run. Could very well do, a 10 to 100x move. Personally speaking, as I look at, Aleph Zero, I actually think that this could very well be a $50 to $100 token, very similar to Solana, if it does get enough support and hype behind it. And also remember that this is not one of those hype coins that rely on hype. There's a lot going on behind the scenes with Aleph Zero. And honestly speaking, as we look at this thing, I personally love AZERO from a perspective on the fact that I've been studying it for well over a year. I've been looking at the team for well over a year. They have done nothing but build confidence behind my investment, which is something that I always look at whenever I do look at some of these utility tokens. And the team just continues to build. And also, there's a perfect narrative behind it, which I will go over in this video as well. But nonetheless, let's dive in and let's talk about a few things. So one of the big things that I've been addressing over on Twitter is the fact that I've been buying AZERO, and pretty much anything under $1 is a bid for me personally. Now, if you guys did want to wait on some lower targets, you guys are more than welcome to, but I think that we've already kind of seen them. Going back to June and even just recently in July, we've seen these targets being hit, which is anywhere between 81 cents to about 88 cents. This whole green area, which has been a big zone of demand for a while now. And also remember, right, like as we look at AZERO under $1, to me personally, like this is what under $1 looks like for AZERO. So, long term, sorry, I did not mean to hit that. Long term, if we actually look at this thing anywhere in this area, so from pretty much 81 cents to $1 is a perfect buy zone for the long term, because I do think that this could very well be a 50 to 100x opportunity run. The reasoning behind that is because I think that there's going to be a lot of eyes on privacy tokens, especially with a lot of the talk behind CBDCs, this new world coin. It's a very scary idea around these CBDCs. So I think that a lot of people will cling to privacy tokens. But also the big zone that I've been really kind of eyeing on AZERO is pretty much at like 88 cents. So 88 cents is a pretty good area of buying. We've tapped it multiple times here as support. We might get one last push down, which is going to be a great time to load up. But like I said, accumulation under $1 for AZERO just makes sense. And even if we look at the all-time chart on AZERO over on CMC, you can see that this area right here at around roughly 85 cents is a perfect buy zone. It's the area that it's been clinging on to ever since January, November, even like around like the October timeframe, and all the way back in like roughly July of 2022. So it's a big area of focus. And also, as we look at this thing, 233 million of the supply is already staked and locked away. And when we look at the supply circulating, it's sitting at roughly 267 million AZERO. Total supply sitting at about roughly 336.2 million AZERO. And yes, this is one of those tokens that doesn't have a max supply. And the inflation on this thing, it will take 10 years for the supply to double, which is still less than 1 billion AZERO. Again, perfect for an incredible run up. Like I said, this is why I think that this could very well be a $50 to $100 token, because of the significant low supply and even low market cap ratio at those prices. And holders sitting at about roughly almost 64,000 holders. I think that we're still very early on AZERO. I've been accumulating this thing for well over a year now. I mean, honestly, if I go back to like my earlier buys on AZERO, it's been roughly a year since I bought AZERO and started accumulating it. So, to me, this is one of those tokens that just makes sense to have in the portfolio, especially if you are supporting privacy tokens and privacy layers for the Web3 world, which I will get to here in a second as well. And also community engagement. They have been building out some very strong events around the community, especially with the AZERO, which is their NFT marketplace. As you guys do see over here, they had some great moments, meeting some fans and having this huge event around AZERO and the NFT marketplace for AZERO. And then also over here from Inc., which is a toolkit for developing smart contracts on Polkadot with, of course, AZERO. We see the meeting over here. This is at Berkeley, and Inc. is again part of the curriculum. And we do see this time our friends from AZERO give these smart contracts lectures at the #1 educational Polkadot event. So again, there's some great sort of cross-chain collaboration here, especially with Polkadot and AZERO, which you love to see. And again, this is just great for community engagement and community growth. And as we even look at AZERO right now, they are sitting at roughly almost 156,000 followers. So they've been growing steadily over on socials because they have been very vocal on Twitter and on all social fronts. And as we look at the roadmap, so the first time that I really kind of talked about AZERO, I think that we were on phase 1 or phase 2. We're now on phase 4, and you can see that these are all completed. So these are actually some pretty great initiatives back here early on that they did complete. Currently speaking, we are on number 4, which is Account Explorer, Validator Elections, Basic Smart Contract Capabilities, Nomination Polls, and of course hardware wallets integrations, which is already happening right now. And then we can look forward to phase 5, phase 6, and of course phase 7. So they do have a great roadmap. They've been absolutely killing it. They've been building very, very fast. They've been really kind of, I would say, very transparent. Honestly, the transparency from this team is one thing that I love, right? It's one thing that I always look for whenever I do invest a significant amount, because I do have a very large amount invested into AZERO. Whenever I do invest a significant amount into a team or into a project, I make sure that the team is transparent. They are very, vocal, active, and they continue to build, especially through dark times where we have bear markets. And they have been ones that really kind of stood out to me because the team, the project, everything happening on AZERO is something special. And I do think that this is a very early on gem that could surprise a lot of people and do an incredible run up to, like I said, Solana numbers. And also, as we look at the ecosystem, this is something that I've been very focused on as well. It continues to expand. This thing has been expanding rapidly in recent times. I remember when I was looking at this and there was probably like 20 maybe projects on here. Now it's pretty significant, right? There's a lot of names on here, from DeFi to the metaverse, to the decentralized exchanges, NFTs, oracles, you name it, right? There's a lot going on here. I personally love to see this. And also one thing that I noted in the last AZERO update was AZERO.ID, which is great to see. And they're also focused heavily on privacy. And like I said, as we look at CBDCs, this continues to become a big narrative that everyone is playing around with and really kind of looking at. And I do think that it's for our best. I really do think that our concerns are in our best interest. I think that we should be concerned, especially when it regards central bankers and new types of money, especially tokenized money, programmability around money. Things like that are definitely concerning. And this is also something that I've been looking at around CBDC trends over on Google Trends. This has started to recently pick back up. And also with that, we start to see privacy crypto getting, talked a little bit more about, privacy tokens. And of course, over here, as we look at coin market cap, recently they started to talk a little bit about privacy around Web3. This is, of course, with AZERO. If you open this, an AZERO team member, I think it was the co-founder, was actually writing this article and talking a little bit about the right rules and the right regulation around, privacy, especially within the Web3 world, and why it's so important, especially when we look at Web3 and what Web3 will morph into. There's been a lot of predictions around Web3, and I do think that it could be something much larger than the Web 1 and Web 2 world combined. And I've seen a lot of predictions around it and how much money there could be tied to Web 3. It's in the trillions, right? It's in the hundreds of trillions, actually. And even recently, like I said, AZERO has been very vocal about privacy, and a lot of the use cases, even AZERO.ID, is built upon privacy and having the first ever private domain system on the AZERO network. Check this out.
We are trying to be the very core primitive of a user's on-chain identity in the AZERO, but also the overall substrate ecosystem. We are really looking into enabling things like that in a privacy enhanced manner. So this could mean that we make use of zero knowledge proofs to, for example, prove in an anonymous way that a certain information is attached to a domain. and that other, for example, applications can then also make use of this information.
So yeah, like I said, the teams behind a lot of these projects, like even AZERO.id, are absolutely incredible, and they've been killing it, right? They continue to build out, they continue to expand, and it's something that I continue to watch for. And I also look at the quality, right? The quality of these projects, and AZERO.id has been one that has delivered on quality. I mean, look at the UI behind this. From start to finish, this thing has looked incredible. I personally love it. And again, it's something that I've been really focused on with Aleph Zero. And also as we look at Web3, like I said, this is from M13. They predicted this going back to 2021. And if we do see Web3 follow in the footsteps of Web 1 and Web 2 and the growth of them, we would be sitting at roughly about $140 trillion in potential market cap at scale for Web3. A lot of these tokens that are crucial to the evolution of Web3, like for example, those that are providing a privacy layer for this, are big players. And I think that they will be crucial pillars that build out the foundation for the Web3 world. And I know that everyone's going to say, well, what about Hedera? What about this project? What about that project? Is AZERO competing? I want you guys to understand that this is a big collaboration. There's going to be multiple winners. There's going to be multiple players that are tied to Web3, and they all have a major role to really kind of fill. And I think that this is something very exciting. And like I said, this team continues to build. And if we look at the price of this token today, to me personally, this thing looks bottomed. We've had accumulation phases on AZERO on the macro. One thing that I've been looking at, if I can find the brush, thank you. One thing that I've been looking at is this low here. From there, we had this low, and from this low, we've had this low. We're just in accumulation over here as well, where we start to have this major uptrend. And on this next uptrend, I do believe that we will go higher, finally break out of this high, which is significant resistance at about roughly $1.81.5. We might back test it and then have that continuation to the upside, but I do expect this all-time high to be broken. And from there, like I said, I'm targeting some pretty high substantial numbers, but it's because I think that this is a project that is worth the $50 to $100 price tag, especially with the market cap in mind. The market cap is still pretty conservative compared to most tokens out there. If you wanted to have, safer bets, hey, $15 to $25 is also something that I've been looking at with AZERO. But again, de-risk, make sure that you are taking your profit on the way up. And, with that being said, I think that Aleph Zero is a major gem that everyone should be looking at, especially around the possible $140 trillion Web3 world as a significant privacy layer. But also, this project just continues to really grow on me from, ever since I invested in it first to now. This has been a project that has had my eyes on it forever. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. So it's up to you all. Have a beautiful day or a beautiful night wherever you guys are on this video. This has been Nick. Peace out, guys.